Greetings, folks. I'm Josh Williams here with
Fred Miner from Peregrine Safe and Ready.
Fred. We've survived through Thanksgiving.
We did.
We are about to near the heart of winter time. I understand on your Facebook page that you had a successful hunt.
Yeah, I got a couple of deer this year and got to help some friends get a couple more. So we had a good season.
Now, are you
fun.
Are you the type of guy? And I know that I'm sort of giving you a softball here. Yeah.
Pitch it.
Are you the type of guy that kills it and puts it on the wall, or you kill it and eat it?
If I had one worthy of going on the wall, it would go there. Over my lifetime, I've shot one really nice wall-hanging buck, and the rest of them just go in the freezer.
That's it.
I'm a meat hunter. Yeah.
All right. Now,
for the most part.
Do you have somebody else process this deer? Because
usually I have somebody else cut them up.
Mm-hmm.
But I make jerky. I actually like to freeze them myself in vacuum pack them.
Okay.
So I just get it cut up in bulk and hand it to me in a big plastic bag, and then I take it home and do the rest.
Right. Well,
it's a little easier.
Part of the fee in broadcasting here at the GeneseeSun.com is beef venison jerky.
Yeah. Well, I have a batch marinating probably before I go to bed tonight.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll be here to sample it and trying to take a look at some of your things. But one of the things that we're talking about here that we always like to, first of all, you talk about preparing yourself for when the you-know-what hits the fan.
Whatever.
And self-defense, security, firearm training. This is really what you do. But one of the things that I think is very relevant and an interesting topic here, what we're talking about, is the DEC and their role in this. Now, we are limited as members of society by when we can hunt and when we cannot hunt.
Right.
What's your feeling about being limited to when you can kill an animal and eat it?
Well, this goes back to early 1900s, where because of the way things were not regulated, the game species were gone in this area. White-tailed deer were nearly extinct. There were no turkeys. There were no black bear. The white-tailed deer have been around as long as I can remember, but the turkeys and the black bear have only recently come back, to the point where they're huntable species in my lifetime. The turkey were really, really rare. I remember when I was a kid, they used to actually put it in the newspaper if somebody got a turkey. It was that big a deal.
Now it's that way with pheasants, and we're starting to see a little bit of pheasants coming back as well, but this used to be a very rich area for bird hunting, and now they have places where they release out of a bird cage a pheasant, and you can go shoot it, and you can send off your Labrador to go get it, and you feel really cool. Not quite what we're aiming for here, but
remember, pheasants are not either, so just
where are they native of?
Asia.
Yeah,
they were imported. Red fox is not a native species, this is an area famous for fox hunting, but the red fox was brought here from Europe specifically to be hunted. Didn't know that, did you?
Fred Miner,
caught you by surprise.
Always bringing a little bit of tidbit for us. So the one thing I have is, obviously, if we did have that doomsday scenario, we wouldn't really have to abide by DEC rule.
No, which would be a bad thing, because the game species would be cleaned out in a very short amount of time. We'd go back to that whole unregulated thing where if you get into the history of this, people were commercial hunters and hunted year round, hunted over bait, used all. And the other thing is the landscape changed. And it has changed again. There was a lot more agriculture here 60, 70 years ago than there is today in total. So we've had a lot of land return to being wildlife habitat that was under cultivation.
Well, here there's another issue, and this is sort of my segment for really what I'd like to talk about is, speaking of the DEC, is that they're sort of entrusted to be the safeguard of our natural resources, like you mentioned, with the hunting and fishing, but as well as that includes mining and our mineral resources that we have here, which in Genesee Valley tends to be a lot of gravel, sand, as well as a salt mine, which collapsed back in '94. For those of you that don't know and are just getting on board with us here, this is a weekly segment, is that there's a massive issue between Livingston County, the DEC, the former Axo Nobel salt mine, the insurer, and whether or not they can shut down a desalination plant that's treating a former collapsed mine. My point is that the DEC is sort of supporting, is publicly supporting the shutdown of this desalination plant. They've done a great job at safeguarding our wildlife and sort of regulating that. I don't understand why they're supporting shutting down something that's threatening our mineral resources and pretty much the good carriage of our natural resources here.
Let's go back now.
That's the short version.
The short version.
Yeah.
The DEC, I don't remember what year, the year of its inception, but one time, again going back to when I was pretty young, we had just game wardens like other states do, and wildlife management was sort of a separate thing. At about the same time that Earth Day came along, I'm thinking this was the early 70s, but somebody has to check me on that.
You had longer hair then.
I did have I had more of it. Yeah. And part of it was kind of a politically correct title, the Department of Environmental Conservation, and they put everything in this umbrella group, which is in charge of all the environmental issues in the state. And from my way of thinking, something like wildlife management and habitat maintenance is a very different thing from taking care of industrial waste and regulating pollution control, which, if you look at what the state's accomplished in the last 50 years, that's been fantastic. I can remember going to Niagara Falls when I was a kid, and my parents took me to Niagara Falls. The sky was yellow. I mean, literally yellow. The air pollution was horrible. If you drove a car with a convertible top up in that area, the back window would only last a year or two, and it turned all yellow and brittle from the pollution in the air. So we have had some major victories in cleaning up air and water, but at the same time, we're a little schizophrenic in the way we approach it, because we put everything into this one agency that's going to do one thing or the other well, but can't really do both.
Right.
And by the way, in this current state administration, the DEC is horribly underfunded. So we've really got some issues there. And so when it comes to something, and here's my guess, Josh, on this, why the DEC is leaning toward the mining companies' interests, is because New York State is in such dire shape financially that this is a kind of a way of, oh, geez, if we lean on these guys too hard, they'll pull out, and then there go the jobs and the revenue.
Right. Whatever you do, don't fix our fiscal inefficiencies.
Right.
Let's just find ways of giving away our natural resources.
Right. We'll kowtow to the old thing. Follow the money.
What's kowtow?
Kowtow is a way of bowing to the folks that have the power.
Kowtow.
Yeah, never heard that term?
Nope.
We got to get you a dictionary.
Right.
Okay, I use a
we
lot
don't
of
use them here at the Genesee Sun.
archaic stuff. I'm sure it could be found on the web. But that's really the bottom line, is that when we go, think of how our state operates. We have the highest taxes in the nation. We are the most business unfriendly state out of 50 states. But when we get a new company coming into the state, what's the first thing they give them? Tax exemption for 5 years or 10 years. Now, if that's a good idea, if low that comes in here faithfully for years contributing, kind of get the boot, or the shaft, as it were. Now, I don't know the exact details of this issue with the desalination plant and the salt mine, but you don't really have to, because government agencies tend to follow very specific patterns. And this one, in fact, keep in mind, anything like the DEC is full of people who are unelected officials. They have an appointed top dog, and then they have a bunch of career people that are in it. And I know a lot of good DEC officers. They're great guys.
Right, absolutely.
But you're asking a guy to be a policeman and to make sure people aren't poaching deer, and to go into schools and things and help teach people about environmental protection, and then at the same time you want this policeman to be going into factories and looking for seepage and waste and groundwater contamination and a whole bunch, and it really goes in a couple different directions.
Yeah, it leaves a certain sourness in your mouth when the DEC gives you a ticket for a seatbelt violation.
Yeah, but the thing is, they are empowered. As the state police are, they can do traffic infractions. They'll get called in on a manhunt or anything like that. And they actually have more power, most people don't realize this, than the state police do, because of their ability to go and do the game violation things on top of everything else.
Right.
But it could be a better system.
It sure could. So, and this isn't a shot at the agents out there. This is a shot at the system that we're talking about here. The system that they're entrusted with safeguarding is broken right now, and it's currently not working, and there are some threats. Folks, look, take a look at the Genesee Sun, the Livingston County News, my competitor as well. They've covered this. This is an important issue. You definitely want to read up on it.
This does impact us right here where we live.
Right. So,
It really does.
we made it through here. Now, Fred, anything on the radar coming up with Peregrine Safe and Ready? Any
One thing
excited, Fred?
I haven't. Yeah, hard to believe, isn't it? No, I really am. My friend Dave Jenkins, who owns and operates Rochester Personal Defense, has leased a piece of property up on Buell Ave, which is right off of the airport.
Okay.
Okay. If you were going up 390 to go to the airport, when you turn off, the place where Eagle Parking is across from the airport is Buell Ave.
Right.
And just a stone's throw up the road from that, he has now leased a building, and I'm actually helping him do some renovation in it. We're going to be doing all kinds of classes there, everything except shooting.
Okay.
So, any of the classroom aspect of
Right.
Procuring a pistol permit or things like that, we're going to teach self-defense there. We're probably going to get some fitness classes going there, and those will be taught by yours truly.
All right. Now, this is my goofball question for you, because I always...
I had the softball already,
Yeah,
so
now
we'll go with the goofball.
So why is it when a ninja cuts through the air, it makes a noise?
Because when they're filming those movies, they have a guy in the background that's adding sound effects. Okay, that's
Maybe
pretty easy.
We should get that. Maybe we have Christian here. It's in the studio. Maybe Christian can help us out with some sound effects. He's on.
Oh.
All right, Christian, new intern at GeneseeSun.com. Well done, Christian. So there you go,
Hidden
folks.
talent. It's great.
Yeah, we'll be back next week with another episode with
Peregrine Safe and Ready, and I'm Fred Miner.
Thanks, folks.
Bye.